Greetings and welcome, brave citizens of our new world. I'm Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terawatt. This is our Layer 3.0. Today is day 23 of our V.E.D.A challenge. V.E.D.A, vlogging every day in April. We're gonna Okabe the
out of this.
This is Big Mike.
Hey, I can talk now.
From that D20 Live business.
Yeah, I keep having you over for.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're so on point now. It's great.
It's great. We've been having a huge amount of fun hanging out today. They came over to visit, and we're just going over our stream setup and all the other weird jibber-jab and junk that we normally get up to. And we also have some questions from you guys, and then we're going to read off fan fiction
that I wrote.
It
took me 4 days to write. Involves several members of the D20 Live team because we all love you, Doc.
Oh my God.
And we decided to communicate that love through narrative. And really, it's like the Renaissance. It shows just... You're so cute when you met.
Is this your Sistine Chapel? This.
Yes! Yes, it is. It is my Sistine Chapel. And it is as majestic as it is on fire.
Cherubs and all?
Oh, yeah. There were no cherubs in it, but we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
You got fans with questions, so let's get to it.
My question is from Mike. Why can't I steal Sam?
Because I found her first.
I mean, wait, no. What has been the most satisfying campaign that you have DM'd, and what about it made it so?
Okay, if we're talking about, are we talking about games for D20 Live or campaign for myself? Thank you.
Either.
Okay, the most satisfying game that I've ever run for D20 Live is currently the Dark Sun game, because that actually is a campaign and not a one-shot.
Nice.
And we just finished filming the 12th episode of it, and it was this huge build-up, and I do recommend please go see it if you don't mind. If I can promote my stuff here.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's your rodeo,
go for it.
And it's just really satisfying to play, to have run a game where the characters are in no way by default good characters, but they're not necessarily evil. They're people living in a very moral gray area, and seeing where their limits are as they go along. My favorite game that I've ever, satisfying, not fun, I'm guessing in this case, satisfying would have to be the Curse of the Crimson Throne game that I am running right now, that I run on Wednesday nights with a bunch of my friends, because it's an out-of-the-box module, like you can just, because Pathfinder has like all these old module paths, right? And I love the heck out of it because I've been making small changes and I get to really work on my character stuff and things like that. And it's really good and I've enjoyed it. Cool. I made a demon sound like Megatron from Beast Wars and it terrified the living crap out of everybody.
Good!
Yes!
That is satisfying.
Yes!
Yes! My least favorite Megatron, unfortunately. For that exact reason.
Yeah, but he works as a demon.
He does.
Because you imagine that voice coming out of someone who specifically has nothing but malevolent intent as a demon. It's just like, I do hope that you've never gotten over our last encounter. Promise me you haven't. Promise me. Yeah.
No, and that was the thing, is like, as a kid, I guess I got really used to like the G1 Megatron. Yeah. And the only thing that really could replace Megatron for me was Galvatron, voiced by Leonard Nimoy, which of course it can. But then when Beast Machines and Beast Wars came out, I was like, but they turn into dinosaurs and animals, they don't turn into cars and stuff. This is lame! And then that hatred just cascaded into everything else.
Which is a shame, because Beast Wars is a good show. If you like the original Megatron, but you kind of want him to actually be acted through with Frank Welker, I would recommend watching Transformers Prime. Because he somehow made Megatron frightening.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, though.
Yeah, I know. Like, but it's the same voice, but he's taken down a notch.
Yeah?
And he's just like, he actually talks to a 15-year-old boy and says, if you don't kill me, I will kill Optimus, and I'll remind you that this was the day you let me go.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I have to go watch that.
You should.
Alright, so we're both going to scooch forward just a little bit.
Sure.
Because you talk excitedly, and you've been hitting the table a little bit.
Yes, I've noticed.
And you are shaking my lab to the ground.
Yeah. I'm going to take this coat off, because it's hot.
It's hot.
Hot damn. Next question.
This is a good show. Big Mike! It seems that Sam, your sweet and charming production manager, has been swayed to spend a lot of time on the Doctor's streams. How do you stop his evil passive charisma? Is it the hair?
Well, you see, Volsar, Sam is a grown woman who can go wherever she wants and enjoy whatever content she wants as she sees fit. If Doc does try to take him from me, I'll visit his house as Lord Nauticus.
That's good. That is enough.
Yeah. You sleep in way too late.
I do. I have a nightlife.
I know you do, and I don't. And I'll just wake up
For both Doc and Mike, what is the funniest or most legendary moment you've had while playing a tabletop RPG? Kinda got up to a lot of shenanigans over the last couple of games. I think that, though, one of my favorites would be... It was a Terrible Warriors game a long time ago, and it was... We were playing Pathfinder, and I was playing a rogue because I decided to try playing a rogue for a change. Yeah, and you were actually a part of that game.
Yeah, I was playing Tenacious D as a bard.
As a bard, you were playing Tenacious D, and I snuck away from the party to run upstairs to perform a panty raid on the local countess's room that she had when she was staying at the same inn as us. And I actually walked in because Mike Dodd was actually nice enough to be like, okay, you walk in while she's being assassinated. Like, there's an assassin in her room because this is what was supposed to be happening at this time, so you walk in on that. And I didn't really have a lot of weapons or particular combat things on me, but I did, as rogues do in 3.5/Pathfinder, and that is, I just had a lot of shit with me. So I was thunderstones and using, like, fishing nets and caltrops and tanglefoot bags. Well, I didn't have enough money for tanglefoot bags, so I bought a fishing net, and I threw that at him instead.
Just this high-level assassin trying to get past all of you on this narrow catwalk.
Just trying to get past me in the hallway, and I'm throwing shit
is being played over the scene.
And you hear this, like, sweet riffing guitar downstairs as I am just Batmaning the hell out of this guy. And eventually he's like, will you stop that? And just shoots a fireball at me, to which I dodged, and then it killed Tom's character.
I need to GM you more often, like a Pathfinder. Mine is really simple, because it was... a game my friend is playing, a friend of mine, Scott, from the D20 Live team, in a game called, freaking hell, my Paladin character. Anyway, it's all this very occult, horror-themed sort of undead and zombies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I said I wanted to play a Paladin. I wanted to play a non-jokey character for once in my life.
Yeah.
That didn't happen because... because I was watching the IT credit at the same time, and I was told that the first scene we were going to have is a funeral. So I based my Paladin off of Douglas from the IT crowd. So that's... Imagine all this dark, macabre happening, and then there's Douglas going, well, I don't think we should be doing this sort of nonsensory. Douglas, that's not a word. Up your butt it isn't. And for a time, my character was the only one who had a heal check in the party, so I was using it forensically to figure out things. And at one point, our rogue had woken up from a horrible dream where she was getting cut open, because this was like a proper horror game, and her name had been written on the wall in blood. Right? I'm like, well, I'm going to investigate, do a heal check. This is human blood. But where did it... Damn it.
Yeah, I got it in my DVD.
Yeah.
But where did it... Damn it.
Damn it. I just watched the entire party stop, and they were like, Mike, we're never going to have a dark moment like around. Douglas is going to make every horrible thing funny. There was actually a later point in the game where he got possessed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and when he came out from it, he's like, well, this is bad. I'm going to go into the one place where I can be kept safe from everyone else. And he went to the town prison, shut the door behind him, just locked himself up in the town prison, and they're like, Douglas, what are you doing? I got possessed. Do you want me walking around possessed? Have a good night's sleep, Douglas.
Yeah. Have a good, you have yourself a good rest there, bud.
What I didn't know was there was another guy in the cell, and I didn't find out till the next morning. Anyway, next question.
Oh my god. A question for you, Doc, or Big Mike. How do you like your giant robot/mech legs? Bipedal, chicken, walker, four-legged, tank treads, etc.
Bipeds.
Yeah.
That's how you can kick things.
I'm a weird fan of four-legged walkers.
Yeah.
Like the ones that have the large, like, and it's got the joints that come out, very much like the rolling droids from Episode 1 in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's like the only example I can think of right now of like popular robots that would have leg sets like that. Because then you have like a turret on the top that can do any number of things. It can have arms and what else, but it has these like spider legs that kind of walk and let them move places quickly. And I find it just so terrifying when you see something coming at you. It's like, and it's like got the four legs kind of giving it and it can go up on roofs and stuff like that. It's a lot more mobile.
The reason why I like bipedal robots is because whenever you see a bipedal robot done up in like giant robot shows and stuff, any pilot worth his salt is going to make that robot kick. Despite the fact these legs are, from a design perspective, only supposed to let you stand. If there is a pilot, this is especially true in Gundam, and that's one of the more serious shows you'll ever find, it's, well, you're out in deep space, you don't really need your legs. You want us to take them off? No.
No.
Kick.
How am I going to kick stuff if you get rid of my legs?
Also known as the Shar Enzabal route of, or Enzabar, I can't remember. pronounce his last name. Also called the Red Comet route of how to deal with your enemies. Watch Gundam.
I gotta watch more Gundam.
Yeah.
The new Pacific Rim is actually coming out.
It is out, isn't it?
Isn't it? Is it already out?
I think so.
Oh, I've got to go check that out.
I'll go with you.
Okay, because they've got lots of robot legs going on there, and I imagine there may be some that are more than just bipedal, and it excites me. Have you ever used or built a Rube Goldberg device? If so, what for? If not, what would you want it to be for? Also, what was it built out of?
I have. All it got me was a chopstick in the eye, though.
It was just a bunch of chopsticks and elastic bands, wasn't
pretty
it?
much, yeah. It didn't really have a purpose either. It was just, I wanted to see what I could make as a frame, and, well, when you're 5 and you just got a bunch of chopsticks from, you know, the Chinese food places your parents like to go to and a bunch of rubber bands that go sideways. How about you?
I tried to recreate the old Mousetrap board games like Rube Goldberg machine that they had that was, I was so fascinated by it. I was like, oh, the little ball and then everything, and it's so cool the way that it all falls apart. I tried to recreate that with toys and stuff around my room. I don't know what I was trying to achieve. I don't think I was really trying to achieve anything. It was just a large chain reaction of stuff. If I built one now, I'm not sure what I would make it out of, but I know that I would do it as like a last resort kind of set up in the lab here, because at any point in time when a Rube Goldberg machine starts, everyone stops to see where it's going, and that gives you an opening. So if if a hero bursts in and they're there to stop you, you go and you push over a domino and it goes tick, and then it starts tick, and it starts going, and then just like, well, are you going to arrest him? He's right there. They're like, wait.
I need to know.
I want to see where this goes. Like,
you have to have it that a sign comes down and says, "By the way, I've already escaped."
Yeah, and then like the sign opens up, just like, I've already escaped. And they look, I'm gone. Like, it's just,
he did it again.
God damn it!
I think if
wake up, computer. Okay, good. There we go.
I think if I had one, it would just be there to scratch my back because I'm big. Sometimes it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to fill a need.
Exactly.
And, I can't reach all of my back with my hands.
There was a guy that had one that served him dessert.
Yeah.
But he timed it so that it would serve him dessert just as he finished dinner.
That's beautiful.
And it's so fascinating. He like takes a drink and then he puts his drink on a thing and it like starts the machine and everything like that, and you just see him continuing to eat. And every now and then the machine kind of goes by him where he's sitting there and he's still eating, but he's got like less and less food because he's working his way through his meal. Yeah. And then at the very end, he like last slice of like potato or whatever on his plate, and he like just eats it, and then like pie happens. And he's like, oh, and he just starts eating the pie. And I was like, that's so good. Like it's so great. It involved a baby.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I don't think you can get a reliable timing on a child.
No, you can't. That was genius that he managed somehow. What was your favorite Terrible Warriors game and/or character?
Okay, I know what mine is. I think you have the same one I do. So I want to see if we count down and we say the same one at the same time. Okay?
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Spirit of the Century.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the Spirit of the Century. Yeah, the Florigen Nitrosite. Dr. Florigen Nitrosite is my favorite character.
Yeah, no.
No, that game was easily my favorite.
Fuck, it was so
much fun. Because it was just like, you have a bunch of things. Did you want to play an evil scientist on the tabletop game? And I was like, yes!
My favorite character I've ever played was Quantum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the guy I did from Tom's Wild Talents one-shot. Love the hell out of that character. Just kind and dumb as a box of hammers and stupid strong. It's just, it just has this hard moral line that I adored the living heck out of.
Italian ninjas.
Well, that was Spirit, and I love that. That was just a fun game to, period.
Yeah, that game was just so much fun. And I felt bad because I, like, especially when I'm playing characters like that, a lot of the time, I find in some of the games like Spirit of the Century and in the Apocalypse World game that Justin was running, in that it's like, they consistently ask you questions, and then I'm like, I have an answer for it, but I'll turn to the group and see if anyone else wants to pick it up. Yeah. And in some cases like that, no one was picking it up, so I would just be like, okay, well, if no one else has a thing that they want to do for this, I've got a really exciting thing I'd like to try, and then I'd do the really exciting thing, and then the next thing would happen and be like, okay, now this is happening, now that you've done that. And I'd turn to the group and be like, what's everyone doing? And everyone's like, like, Cassie was like, I'm a countess, we're aboard a transforming train, what do you want me to do? And I was like, right, so I'm just going to keep sciencing
I'm going to go to the front of the engine of the car, and I'm going to see if I can make this thing hop bodies of water.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can make this jump transform midair into a boat and then travel across the water.
And you did. And you used the excess successes to change the tooting sound on the engine.
The chimney thing.
You met a man that you had
the General Lee.
And you met a villain that you have hated non-stop since then. And I frequently use that voice to piss you off.
Good though, but like that's fantastic. It's actually that actually reminds me of another tabletop series. Was a friend of mine was running a 4th edition game for us like a long time ago, and was a great storyteller. And he built this. He I feel bad because he spent all this time building this world.
Yeah.
And he's like, here's this one kingdom run by gods, and this other kingdom run by dragons, and there's all these dragonborn people that live over there, and we're at war with them. And there's like this big like church theocracy that we've got on one side that like you have to like work with, and then they have their own like government structure, and they're very military, and there's a lot of conflict that you're like sort of being dragged into as a set of heroes. But very early on, like the first adventure, we ran into a halfling thug leader named Bromo Nubs. And
I've heard this story.
Yes, and he literally shows up and he's just like, yes, I am Bromo Nubs, etc., etc., and then snaps his fingers and a bunch of other halflings jump out of the bushes and they're all cudgels and stuff, and they're all his band of thugs, and he, as we're fighting our way through beating up, which is effectively a bunch of children, we eventually just get to him, and he just escapes. Always, because halflings, just escapes into the tomb that we were going into, and we run into him again and again and again, and it's just, it stopped being about the intrigue between the two kingdoms fighting each other and whatever else was going on behind the scenes, and it became this hunt for Bromo Nubs. Did
you ever get him?
No, like the last game that we played, we were, like, all of our characters, I was playing a sorcerer, all of our characters were gathered in this big, like, opera cathedral, and one of our characters was about to, like, was being recruited to sing as an opera singer in this big thing, and it was gonna, like, play into, like, oh, but the leader of the enemy kingdom is gonna be here this evening, and they're gonna be singing in front, like, they're gonna be in the audience, and so you're gonna be singing in front of them, and that might give you an opportunity to maybe gather some information or perhaps assassinate them or such and such. We're just at the recital, though, she's singing on stage, and everyone's like, oh, wow, that's so beautiful, and then you hear this from the rafters above us, and it's just, yes, and I turn around and I'm like, you, and I like shoot a fireball up into the rafters and it explodes, and they're like, and we'll call the game there, and we never came back to it. I know, and I was like, never the satisfaction of getting to finally crush Bromo Nubs. My one greatest regret in life. Doc, if you were GMing a game, what system would you use, and what type of campaign would you run? Mike, if you were playing a character in Doc's game, what kind of character would you make? Actually, I've been wanting, because I tried running this campaign in 4th Ed, because it was really easy to pick up, and I was trying to bring new people to tabletopping, and 4th edition is super good for bringing new people in the sense that it's literally like, do you want to play a wizard? Cool, here's all of your cards with your wizard abilities.
Yeah, but you're not playing an RPG game, you're playing an MMO.
Yeah, it's a tabletop MMO. Like, you just hand someone all their abilities, and it's like, here's your abilities you can use whenever, here's your per fight and per day. It is, though, essentially. And that's the way it was designed. Like, they did 4th edition in very much a, like, here's your miniatures, here's your table, here's all this other stuff. And it's super easy just to pick up and go. Everything is very boiled down and simplified and self-explanatory. But I want to run a 5th edition game because I've been playing a couple of games in 5th Ed, and it is simpled down enough that new people can pick it up, but it's also complex enough that if you're playing a certain class or character, you can really customize each class to fit and play a very specific character that you've wanted to make. Like, I've come up with a couple of different characters off the top of my head and being like, could I play, for example, a barbarian pugilist? Yes, you can. There are abilities in the barbarian tree, and like you can take up unarmed fighting, and there's unarmed weapons you can take, like brass knuckles and stuff like that you could use. That are as good as most simple weapons. So yes, you could. Could I play a sorcerer that does this and this? Could I play a swashbuckling kind of character who's this and this kind of thing? Absolutely. And the game lends itself additional things like saying, oh, if you're not sure what to do with your backstory, here's some examples of backstory stuff you could use. Like there's a lot of character and world building assistance that's involved in the game that I thought was really cool. I have a campaign that is sort of reminiscent of a campaign my brother ran for me like years and years ago, my first D&D game, that I've wanted to run for a long time. I've considered running it on Roll20, the digital system, on our streams for like Fridays or something. Like maybe on Fridays or on Mondays or whatever, whenever we're available twice a month or something like that, we'd have like a tabletop stream and I would be running the game and everybody else would be playing the game so that like people could see what the table is, but all the additional materials that I have that are behind the scenes are kept there. Yeah. And then maybe I'd have a camera on myself, maybe not, and then everyone else would just be in Discord or Skype or whatever is a more reliable system, because Discord cuts out sometimes. But then yeah, and just like kind of run, and it's definitely a fantasy game. Yeah. And there's definitely a lot of zombies.
I'm trying to think what kind of character I would give for you, because to me, a fun character I like to make is one who's mechanically competent, and I don't know enough about 5th to min-max. If you said you were building something in Pathfinder, I'd be like, okay, I got 20 different ideas I can give you. But for 5th, I would probably just make a bog standard barbarian.
Cool.
But I know exactly what personality I would give him. Like, do you ever watch like old Star Trek Next Generation stuff?
I've seen bits of it.
Yeah, there's a Klingon named Gowron, and I love this character because that's going to be how I'm doing my barbarians going forward. Because most barbarians are like, oh, I'm a raging guy, whereas Gowron just does this. He just talks like, what is this? And he's constantly looks like he's one step away from stabbing the guy right next to him. Just like he's this seething animal. It's just like, is he raging right now?
Yeah, he always looks like he's on the rickety precipice of madness. Like he's just right there.
Yes, it's just like, so we would like you to save the villagers. Your villagers are weak. How much will you pay me?
Yeah.
Just the entire time, it's just like, is he evil? He hasn't killed anyone who's not good. Yeah. How dare you shame me? About which part? That you could kill the villagers or that you won't? That kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that could work.
Yeah. You couldn't do it on Fridays, though, because that's, if you want to be on there.
Yeah, that's when you do stuff.
That's when all my friends get together. The entire D20 Live team gets together and plays.
There we go. But yeah, I've been considering it, because I'm not sure what day of the week we'd run it, and it would be the same thing. It'd be like the 3-4 hours, like 7 to 10 or 7 to 11, that we'd run, like, just for that night. Which is the standard for, like, tabletop stuff. Like, you get together, everybody get ready, 7 o'clock we start, 10 o'clock we stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, those are 3 hours, and if you do that, like, once a week or once every other week, like, that's pretty standard fare for, like, a active campaign.
Yeah.
For people that are playing tabletop, at least in my experience, so...
Would you do a pre-assembled module, or would you do something completely...
Oh, I've already,
because you got your brother's stuff, would you throw in stuff from, like... You've described it but would you take, like, stuff, like, from, like, the classics, like, the Queen of Spiders, or, like, the Temple of Elemental Evil, and all stuff like that?
Oh, no, I've, like, because the system that my brother was running was out of Faerun. Okay. And in the sense that I'm, borrowing stuff from it was in the theming that he was using, not any particular characters or
just the
settings. The setting itself I've generated custom, and, like, all the characters and whatnot I've also built myself. I don't know if I would do the same for Gods and Dragons and whatnot. I had sort of planned to, because I wanted to, like, have a custom-built sort of thing without having to lean on pre-built stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like I wanted to write and build my own sort of thing to see just the experience of being able to flesh out your own world, more or less. See how that plays out. If folks are interested in that, let me know in the comments down below.
Of course they're going to be interested. They're like, something that Doc's going to run a game with Mike in it, and he's playing this guy who's borderline insane half the time, and we're all going to hear this voice going, "What are you doing?" Of course they're going to want it. You can't say something like that and have them not want it.
There was one barbarian actually that I made that I really, really wanted to play, and only got to play him for like half a game. But I based him loosely off of Praetor Phoenix from StarCraft 2, and then it's just like, oh man, there's some kind of commotion outside the city. He's like, did somebody say glorious motherfucking combat? And he just like gets up and runs off to fight stuff because he loves fighting things, and it's just, if he does it in the name of good, so much the better. Yeah. But he just absolutely finds like combat is the most glorious thing a person can do to that, and I thought that was so great, the way that Phoenix was done, and then eventually Talendar later on in StarCraft 2.
I made once a fighter that was just this ex-gladiator with a southern accent.
Oh god.
And he had the lowest intelligence in the world.
Of course he did.
But the thing was, he wasn't like stupid low intelligence, he just didn't have a lot of book learning to him. Right? So what he would do was, he literally ate his first meal out of being a gladiator at a bar, and he was so happy that wasn't getting soup, and he thought, what if I could grow my own food? Wait a minute. I have my end game. I'm gonna become a farmer. And that was it. That was his life goal.
I played him to be a farmer.
And it was like, and all the smarter characters would give him shit because he knew 3 multi-syllable words. And they're like, because I have a rather extensive vocabulary, and every time he would bust one out, I was like, is this one of the 3? Yes. Why are you counting? Are you being offensive to my intelligence? That's beneath you. Because you're shorter than me, there ain't much down there to begin with. We should get to the next question.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's all the questions we got.
Oh, that is? Oh!
So now we get to read this insanity. Dear Doc, I wrote this to piss you off. Like tears in the rain. Challenge angst WAF.
M/M.
M/M, H/C. Okay. I'm glad I don't know what any of those mean.
I did my research.
How does this go? Oh, it goes on. Jesus Christ. All right.
I told you it was 5 pages, man.
It's 5 pages. All right. It was raining. He was supposed to love the rain. This is what he told his fans across all of his V.E.D.As, that he loved the sound of falling rain and the thunder. He always told them how he wished he could run outside in the rain all day, every day. But then, why was he crying? His tears fell like tears in the rain. Only they were actual tears in the rain, so you know it's legit. He wanted to run, to hide and scream, pound his fists against the concrete and scream at the heavens. Yes, 2 kinds of screaming. It was that kind of pain. He shook his head to clear it, and he did so with such vigor that he noticed the large figure standing nearby, just like, oh.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Holding an umbrella, big enough for 2. Just like his arms, but they were only big enough for 1 person. What the Sup, Doc? Getting your daily agonizing trip in the rain out of your system? He joked. That's what he did. But the Doc knew he could see it in those big brown... Were they brown? We'll call them brown. Eyes. Fuck, what was I saying? Right, so the brown eyes held a sadness that was super hard to see, but Doc could see it because he wore sunglasses in the rain.
You want me to take over?
No! I'll get through this!
I believe in you.
Okay. No, I'm fine, he said, resting on his knees on the ground with his shitty haircut dripping over the front of his face, covering one of his eyes, which, when combined with his sunglasses, made him a kind of double blind, but not like the science experiment. Nonsense, my shizzle! Said the large man, scooping up Doc in both of his arms, cradling him gently like a small anteater. Because an anteater is a quadruped, it was a piggyback. Oh, how lewd. Let's get you inside before you get sick again and you won't complete V.E.D.A. The Doc looked up at him as he held the umbrella high above both their heads because he was big and tall and manly like that, while still cradling Doc in both of his arms. You watch my V.E.D.A? Asked Doc, hoping for the answer. Every time, he whispered, sending a chill down the Doc's spine. The Doc blushed. Oh. The large man carried him inside as the Doc fought the urge to reach up and touch his masculine beard and burrow in it. Not unlike a duck-billed platypus. And yes, like the duck-billed platypus, he wanted to use a venomous spur on the inside of his ankle to ward off predators, but not hurt him, obviously. He was special.
You okay?
I'm glad I'm wearing these sunglasses. I'm crying on the inside here. They went inside Doc's apartment building. It is cool to...
Is it cool?
Is it cool to say that he lives in an apartment? I think his fan base knows. Anyway, the guard at the front door saw Doc in the large man's arms and gave a knowing nod and a smile full of understanding as he looked down at his phone at a picture of him and in... Eduardo, his life partner / soul sharer for the 3rd ring of Zentai. Zental.
The day they
joined Fleabies on the shores of Hawaii. Oh Christ, here it comes. Also, the guard's name was Jim. Just putting that out there. So they totally went inside the elevator, the big man cradling Doc like he was a cell phone that he almost dropped but caught before that happened. As the elevator rose up, it stopped with a heavy screech! Cobra! Ooh! Belly button! You're a hell of a writer, Mike. I think the elevator is stuck, said the doc. The big man looked down at him and said, "It might be your feelings." The duck looked like he was about to cry, but before he could, a single hand stroked his cheek. "But don't worry, it's not too heavy for my muscles." And he totally said it like the German fairy from Fairly Odd Parents. For my muscles. Just making sure you have that locked in there. He sat down the dock and put his hands between the doors, spreading them wide without a grunt, though a single masculine and probably bacon-flavored bead of sweat trickled down his forehead. Doc wanted to wipe it away. With a kiss. "Doc," he said, turning to face the prone genius, "I can't carry you and climb at the same time. What do you need me to do?" asked the doc, hesitant and bashful, like your favorite waifu. "Hold on to me." Doc almost fainted. "How lewd," he whispered. "Come again?" asked the big man. I did. I mean, I sure like Sandstorm by Darude. Hit jam, yo." Doc chided himself for not being honest, blushing as he wrapped his arms around the man's waist. His thick waist. Christ on a bike. The man began to climb up the side of the wall like a howler monkey. He didn't need handholds, just will and muscle. People don't need to worry about me stealing Sam. I'm stealing Mike at this point. But Doc was lost in a maze of feelings with this big man of a minotaur chasing him through, and he was Theseus and didn't have any string to find his way out. Mythical shit, my man. It's relevant today. Didn't know if it was gay love story, huh? Yup, that labyrinth was a metaphor for being lost in emotions and butt stuff. The more you know. Anyway, back to Christ as a picture. Anyway, back to Doc's feelings. If we resurrected all the greatest writers of the world to pen them to a single sentence, it wouldn't work, because they would be zombies and go murr, and that would just be silly. So we have two pictures taken from the Agony Booth's recap of the 1967 film Casino Royale, which I think will say more than we ever could. What command? Finally, they reached the dock's floor. They exited the elevator, and Doc dropped to the floor for, if we're keeping track of this in some kind of drinking game, is around the third or fourth time. Doc reached down and unlocked the door to his apartment. What's it, on the ground? Like, when did he...
held up really high by it.
Oh yeah, when did he pull out the keys, you might ask? Who cares? We're getting to the steamy bits. Like a statue of a man that can move, so just a regular guy then, he carried the Doc into the bedroom and set him down on the bed. Doc was nervous, shy. He blushed like an Animu gif. It was quite intense. The big man leaned in and whispered, "I think I know what you need to get better." At that precise moment, the wall blew out, and a strange, blurry figure emerged. It revealed itself to be an alien creature that looked like a great deal like the Predator, but due to international copyright law, it wasn't. But it was totally sick and had neon lights and bits that spun. A sound of rapid chitters emerged, but thanks to subtitles we can understand what the non-Predator was saying. "You cheating shit, you said you loved me," came the reply. The big man ripped away his shirt and said, "I can't understand you, Ted. Nobody here speaks crab face." Yes, the alien's name was Ted. What the fuck? Doc grabbed his sheets and wrapped himself up like a kakuna. By the way, D20 Live will be holding a Pokemon RPG game at Com Bravo July 27th to 29th. I mean, we aren't officially announced, but I'm pretty sure we'll be there when we sell out. We sell out hard. Too late to click away now. So they decided to fight because that's what you do in this situation. But the big man wasn't a very good fighter, so he just diving kicked the alien. But because the alien's back was to the open hole in the wall, there was pretty much open air, and out they went. Thankfully, there was a conveniently placed dirigible below them.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, the dirigible it's hard to continue. It began to move away from the building. The doc, on his knees, crawled to the opening and watched as the dirigible trailed off in the distance because it was super fast. By the way, did you remember that dirigibles were full of hydrogen? I did. Boom! No one knows why that thing blew up that day. All we know is that it leveled 3 city blocks and scared a few dogs. Oh, the huge manatee! Which was the name of the dirigible that bought it. They say the big guy is still airborne to this day from the explosion. All we have to tell where he traveled over is the smell of burnt body hair. And the doc cried once more, and his tears fell like tears in the rain, because it was still raining. Finn, and then there's a long ellipses, and then a fucking question mark. Jesus Christ. That might be the best fan fiction we've ever received.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad we read this on air. I said I wouldn't be reading these on air. Actually, no. I said that I would not promise that I would read them on air.
Yeah.
That I would likely not, considering the situation in most cases.
And I had to preface this with a lot of corollaries saying,
yeah,
don't worry, it's not going to be that kind of fan fiction.
Like,
it's better.
Yeah, it's
I've
funny.
shown this to like 20 some odd people.
Yeah, we've fenced this in front of a group of people, and they say it's appropriate for children. So
well, it's not because there's swear words.
There's swears, but it doesn't get lewd,
yeah.
too lewd at least. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll read it. So there it is. There's a fan fiction written by Big Mike.
My masterpiece, really.
Oh my god.
You're replaying it in your head, aren't you?
So ridiculous.
Thank you.
One of these days, somebody's going to take that and animate it.
Good!
Really terribly.
You should!
I'm hoping that ends up being one of those things. Just even if it's just like still frames and it's poorly sketched and stuff, I'm looking forward to it.
Just have it be where they're trying to figure out when you're being held in my arms.
There's just arms holding umbrellas.
Just question marks underneath the bottom.
Yeah, just can't wait. So, anyways, thank you everybody for coming out, for watching our V.E.D.A today. We're at the last week because it's the 23rd and it goes up to the 30th, so we got 7 more days.
Awesome. What are you planning to do for like the last stretch? You got anything special planned?
Well, there is Infinity War is coming out, and we're gonna be, I think, like the day before, I'm gonna be asking a few questions of you guys, like what do you expect to see of it, and then this coming Thursday when it drops, I'm going to just, like, after I see it, I'm going to come home and it's just going to be like a no spoilers review.
Okay.
Just talking about what I think the movie is and if I think it's definitely worth going to see. I'm a little bit biased because I really enjoy superhero films and I think Marvel's been doing a great job so far.
I'm biased because I've been waiting like 3 years for Thanos to do something.
Yeah, and just get off the toilet.
Just do it. Just
get
do
out
anything.
of your chair.
Show them who you are.
I can't. My legs are asleep. It's not my time
Show
yet.
them who you are. You're scary.
Be the scary big man and do the scary big man things.
Do the thing where you make Silver Surfer kill a planet. Yeah. Do you not know how he did that one time?
Well, I mean, imagine a lot of things have happened in the comics, but sadly the Silver Surfer, Galactus, and the Fantastic Four are still owned by Fox.
Yeah.
They just keep lousing it up.
Disney owns Fox.
That's right. Disney did recently just buy
Fox.
No, not Fox. All of Fox except Fox News.
Yeah.
And I like to think it was because Fox wouldn't sell them back the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and they're like, "Hey, so we already bought back Spider-Man from Sony. Could you just give us back those IPs, please? We need those." And they're like, "No."
Okay.
Or Fox just like, "Oh, that's funny. I just bought your company. You did what?"
So how about that? Huh?
Oh, really? All of it? No, the news, the worst part of your company, gets to remain its own entity. I just bought all of your IPs. Fox, like 20th Century Fox Cinema no longer exists now.
Yeah.
You're all
does.
Disney.
It still does officially exist.
Well, yeah, but 20th Century Fox isn't producing films anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're owned by Disney, and Disney bought them just so they could take all the IPs and run.
Yeah. Simpsons predicted it.
Yeah, and that was really crazy because, like, back then when Simpsons made that joke, Disney was about to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Like, Disney was in a bad spot, so was Marvel. Like, Marvel was the reason why they sold off those IPs to Fox and Sony in the first place, was because they were about to go under.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there's that, and I've got some events and stuff like that coming up this weekend, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be stopping answering questions. If I do, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
If we're not going to answer any more questions for the weekend, I'll let you guys know that. So yeah, thank you for coming out and being on the show.
It was my absolute pleasure.
Fantastic seeing you guys.
It was good seeing you, man.
And until next time, my brave citizens, I'm Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terawatt. This is our Layer 3.0. That's Big Mike. D20 Live. And we will see you tomorrow on our next episode of V.E.D.A. End of line.